Hey guys, it's Fiona from Eventide Reads and welcome to a new video. So today I'm talking about an event I went to recently, and that is an event with HarperCollins. So every 2 years I think it is, or an approximation of that, HarperCollins host a bookseller event. They have a social media and contact, like HarperInsider is who we contact essentially at HarperCollins, and they are super supporters of Waterstones generally, and they host these events for us up and down the country. Last time we went to Liverpool a couple of years ago, and this time they came back to Manchester. So I was working late that day, so I did not get there until later on. But usually they have a reel that they show with new books coming out, best-selling books, spotlighting on authors, and some authors make videos that they can show, and it's usually really informative, really awesome. And then we have the chance to mingle with people from the imprints and collect a lot of books. This time I decided to be a bit more selective with my books, but also reach out a bit more at the same time. I still came home with a lot of books, not intentional. This is kind of an appreciation video for HarperCollins because they're amazing for doing this. Unfortunately, I didn't take any videos because I'm a bit of an idiot. So I'm going to steal Kimmy's picture from Instagram. She took a couple pictures and just put that here. So hopefully you can see that. They basically stacked books high across the room, and we got to talk to people and let them convince us as to why we should read these books that HarperCollins want to publish or are publishing. And it was really exciting and really fun, and it's always great because I get to see other booksellers that I don't normally get to see very often, and I get to spend time chatting with them. We're not at work, so I don't have to run off and do something. So all in all, HarperCollins know how to throw a really good evening with, you know, food and drink, albeit I had non-alcoholic variety. That's not the point. I can't say there was a single person who didn't enjoy themselves. So thank you so much, HarperCollins, for providing booksellers with these amazing opportunities to get these books. So I suppose y'all want to see what those books were, because if I keep hold of them to the end of the month, my book haul will be insane, I imagine. So let's start off with a couple of books from the Avon imprint, and that is Four Weddings and a Fiasco by Catherine Ferguson. I think this author was like an ebook sensation that they bought. I mainly picked it up because I thought it'd be quite funny for something to read, something wedding related, because they're finally getting married, and just as a bit of light relief should I need it. A funny feel-good read. So if I'm in need, I have a funny feel-good read. Booyah. The other book I picked up from the Avon imprint was Time to Say Goodbye by S.D. Robinson. This book is about a father and his daughter, and I have very sentimental attachments to books that deal with father-daughter relationships. I'm very close with my dad, and anything that happens to dads in books I get very over-emotional about. So I have a feeling this book will destroy me, but it's supposed to be a beautiful read, and I sincerely hope it is. Next are two books from the Fourth Estate imprint, and those are The Heart Fix by Stella Gray. I believe this is a true story, but this is to do with online dating and all sorts of interesting things like that. So I picked it up on a whim that it might be really interesting and a little bit different, because I'm very interested in anything to do with online. I am the online generation. So very interested to see what happens with that. And I also picked up this, which is When in French, Love in a Second Language by Lauren Collins. This just seems like a really interesting different book. It's a bilingual romance, it's supposed to be charming and intoxicating and just supposed to be really quite lovely. So really curious about this one. It is about a woman who doesn't know French but has a translator, and I think obviously she falls in love with someone, whether it's a translator or someone else, I don't know. But I just thought it could be a really beautiful read. Next are books from the Harlequin imprint. So HarperCollins now has the Harlequin imprint as part of themselves. And the first book from that is An Almond for a Parrot by Ray Delaney. This author is actually a pseudonym for Sally Gardner, who does indeed write young adult books. This is an adult's book. It is a historical fantasy. I ended up picking up a copy even though I'm still not sold on it, because the guy from Harlequin was so adamant that I should try it, and I never know until I try, that I decided I would take a copy and at some point in time try it, because it could be wonderful and I could be missing out. Next is a book called Dear Charlie by N.D. Gomes. Sorry. Oh, this is about a boy who goes on a mass shooting in a school, I believe, and these are letters. He then turns a gun on himself and shoots himself, and he was called Charlie. And these are letters from Charlie's brother to Charlie, trying to understand why he did what he did, trying to come to terms with how it affects the family, sort of the outcome and how his life carries on. And it's written in letters, and even though I'm not sure about the story, I like things written in letters, and you know me, and if you don't by now, like Illuminate is my favourite book, and anything written that looks a little bit different or is written in a different style, I'm really interested in. So I picked this up anyway, just to see if it breaks my heart or not, really. Lastly, from the Harlequin imprint was The Deviants by CJ Scoose. I've read CJ's other book, Dead Romantic, quite a while ago, and this one is kind of like a thriller for YA, and I find that very intriguing, so I've got high hopes and we'll see what happens. And the cover's pretty cool, so this might be one that bridges the gap between adults and teens thrillers. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. I picked up a couple of books from HarperCollins Children's Department imprint, whatever you want to call it. And the first one of that is Fab Confessions of Georgia Nicholson, Volume 1. I have never read a Louise Renison book, and as soon as I said those words, Kimmy went, oh, whoa, and like, they had a table of backlist books, and she sort of reached all the way across this table and sort of forced this into my hand and was like, we need to rectify this. So I have this to read at some point in time. Fun, flirty, a bit ridiculous I imagine, and probably a lot of fun because it's written in diary format, so I imagine this is probably right up my street. I also picked up this edition of Jenny, which is about a boy who turns into a cat, and a cat or a girl called Jenny, I'm not entirely sure. I have a feeling I must have read this as a child, considering my cat obsession, but I do not remember it, so maybe I didn't, maybe this passed me by. This is a new edition they're bringing out with this beautiful jacket, and it's so sweet, and it's about cats, so I really should read it, and I probably will love it, right? Also from the children's was Sing, a novel by Vivi Green. This is based a little bit around Taylor Swift, but again, it's a YA book about music. You know how I feel about those books, so I definitely had to pick it up. Lastly from the children's table, something very interesting, and that is this, The 1000th Floor. So this is a very early copy, it's not even properly bound, it's ring bound, by Catherine McGee. This is one of Harper Teen's probably biggest books of the year. Yeah, I literally know nothing about this except I flicked through the first page and saw November 2118 and went, oh, it's futuristic, oh, it could be science fiction-y, thriller, time travel-y, ooh, and just picked it up, forced it into the hands of a couple of other people, and went, we've taken all of these, I'm really sorry, I hope you don't mind. So really excited and interested about this one. No idea when it's coming out, I literally know nothing about this, there is no details yet, so I'm sure there will be some info about this soon. I'm pretty sure there's some Goodreads info for it, so you can find that. Speaking of Harper Teen, I have some interesting Harper Teen books from the HarperCollins 360 imprint, who publishes a lot of international editions of books. So first from this we have The Fall of Butterflies by Andrea Portes, I think that is. This is from the author of Anatomy of a Misfit, which I have not read, but this just sounded really interesting and a bit different, and I have to say I love the cover of this. This might have been a cover pickup, to be perfectly honest. And there was this book, which is Franny and True by Karen Hattrump. I honestly thought this was a biography because it looks like a biography. But it's got Harper Teen on the spine. This isn't a true story. This is actually YA, but it doesn't look like it at all. So this is about a boy and a girl, and there is music involved, which is why I ended up being sold on it, but I don't know much more than that. This next book from the Harper 360 table was one of the few books that I kind of already knew about, and that is Ivory and Bone by Julie Eschbach. Yeah, I'm sorry. So it says on the front there, 2 clans, only one will survive. It is a fantasy, possibly historical book. It looks beautiful, and people who blurbed it, Sarah J. Maas, Amy Kaufman, people I can get behind, and it might be really, really interesting, and it's a fantasy-esque book, so give it to me, I'll read it, yes. Speaking of fantasy books, I have one more book from the, is it who's the publisher? Balzer and Bray. I can never remember, I'm like B&B, but it's not B&B because that's bed and breakfast. I didn't actually pick this one up, a colleague, my manager did for me, because I went to the event a little bit later, finishing my shift and then going there, and it was one of the first books to go, and she immediately picked up a copy for me because she went, that is something Fiona will like, and I'm so glad she did, because it's The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. I've seen this book everywhere, and I have a feeling that fans of Red Queen and things like that might enjoy this book. So I'm not reading too much into it, but I think it might be based in Russia, so it sounds like it could be Red Queen meets Shadow and Bone, which that would be totally cool and totally fine by me. So thank you so much for HarperCollins for hosting this event. As booksellers are very, very lucky and very appreciative that we get the opportunity to go to these kind of things, meet you guys and talk all about books. And hopefully I badgered some people into sending my book club some books at some point in time, maybe. But it was really great to meet people that I've been in contact with for a while, such as Alice at HarperCollins 360, who helped us organise Claudia Gray last year for the book club, and it's just so nice to be able to meet these people and talk to them, let them recommend us books, because we recommend books all the time, and to each other. It's rare that people recommend us books, like just off the bat. So it was a wonderful, wonderful evening. I stayed way, way later than I planned because I was enjoying myself so much. There is some amazing publishing coming from HarperCollins this year, and I'm really, really excited about it. So I hope you guys enjoy this video today, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!